What made Marvel's Spider-Man so good? In this video, I'm going to be talking about what made this web crawler's adventure one of my favorites. If you haven't played the game yet, I will be talking about spoilers, so please click off the video as I would not want to spoil the game for you. First, let's talk about how Insomniac tells such a great story. I like that in this game, it's not just another repetitive origin story we've seen multiple times before, but tells the story of an older and more mature Peter trying to juggle his personal life and his superhero identity as Spider-Man. I also liked learning of Peter's job and how he was working with Otto Octavius to try and create robotic prosthetics to help people. Even if I knew Otto turns evil in the end, it was still kind of heartbreaking to see a man with a passion to invent and help others turn bad. You can really see near the end of the game that Peter feels betrayed by someone he once looked up to. I also liked how the game introduces Martin Lee, or Mr. Negative, and learning he was responsible for the Inner Devil's attacks on the city. During my first playthrough, I did not expect to see Martin turn evil, so it was a shock when they first revealed it. I did not expect the generous man to be running a homeless shelter to also be secretly running a crime syndicate. I also liked learning of his plans to release Devil's Breath on the city and to get revenge on Norman, who was the person that originally created it. Another thing that made Mr. Negative an interesting villain was his really cool, mysterious powers. I really liked how he was able to generate and control negative energy. I also thought it was really cool how he could corrupt and control people's minds. I also thought it was really clever how both Martin and Otto shared the same motivation to get revenge on Norman Osborn. This eventually leads to Otto forming the Sinister Six, and I thought it was super obvious that we were going to have to fight them while progressing through the game's story, but I really like the cutscene where the Six defeats Peter. It really never gets old. It's such an awesome cutscene. Another thing I liked was how Insomniac introduces Miles and how they connected his origin story to the plot. When I first finished the game, I was so excited to see the end credits where Miles shows Peter his new Spidey abilities. Miles has been my favorite character for quite some time now, so I love that they hinted at eventually being able to play as him. Overall, I think Insomniac does an amazing job at telling their own original story with Spider-Man, but they also do an amazing job at making you feel like Spider-Man. I love the feeling of swinging around the city as Spider-Man. Insomniac does an amazing job at making you feel free and agile while swinging around the beautiful city of New York. While swinging around the city, I also felt immersed with completing activities like saving the city from criminals or collecting Peter's bags or taking photos of buildings. I love that every activity that you completed earned you a reward that contributes to upgrading your gadgets or suit upgrades. Every activity was actually fun and it never felt like a chore. I honestly could probably spend hours in Spider-Man's open world and just lose track of the time. Fighting as Spider-Man also feels amazing. It feels like a mix of like Batman Arkham Asylum combat, and it mixes it and gives it its own unique twist. Combat feels great, and I loved comboing my different attacks and having multiple ways to defeat my enemies. I also liked using Spider-Man's abilities like Web Strike that always kept me engaged in combat, and I loved comboing this with the uppercut. It felt really good. I also like how you can fight enemies while in the air, and the transition from ground to air combat just feels really fluid. Spider-Man also has his iconic web shooters and gadgets to play with. These are also just a great time, and I loved being able to use my web shooters to throw objects or enemies around the world. Gadgets are also super fun to use, and I constantly was using them. I really liked using gadgets like spider drones or web grenades. During combat, you can also fill up this ability called the focus meter by attacking your foes. I like this mechanic a lot because it was always super useful when I needed to heal. I also liked having the option to finish off enemies if I ever needed a quick way to defeat one. On top of all this, Insomniac brilliantly uses suits as a way to give us abilities like suit powers and suit mods. I loved using suit powers because they act as an ultimate ability. It was very satisfying using the Web Blossom power to instantly web up everybody in sight. I also liked using the suit power resupply because it resupplied my gadgets. Suit mods were also very helpful as they act as passive abilities. I found armed enemies to be very difficult sometimes to dodge, so I loved using mods like ballistic inserts that allowed me to take less oncoming bullet damage. The other mods that I was using were just to improve my focus, but these are all really useful. The suit designs also look really great, and I had a couple of my favorites like the advanced suit and the Secret War suit. I never once got bored as fighting while as Spider-Man, and it was just because the game always introduces new ways to defeat your enemies or new ways to maneuver around its beautiful city. This is because Spider-Man also has a really great skill tree. The skill tree has 3 categories being Innovator, Defender, and Web Slinger. My personal favorite was Innovator. I loved unlocking upgrades like Wrecking Ball that gave me the ability to web up a brute and throw him around, or unlocking Spider-Man's yank abilities was really fun. Being able to disarm any weapon away from my enemies was super helpful during combat. I also liked being able to upgrade Spider-Man's movement with skills like Quick Zip that gave me the ability to have a second web dash that helped me get around the city even faster. Spider-Man also has a variety of enemies to fight against. These enemies include grunts, brutes, shielded enemies, and armed enemies. I like how each enemy had a unique way of defeating them. Like, for example, brutes have to be blinded in order to get close to them, or shielded enemies had to be taken out from behind. Overall, I think Insomniac just nails the feeling of being Spider-Man, and they just tell an amazing tale to go along with it. I loved seeing their classic take on Spidey villains and introducing us to new ones that we might have not known about. Thanks, Insomniac, for making such an amazing game that I will always cherish. Anyways, guys, that's it for me today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Spider-Man is such a great game, and I had a blast recently replaying it before the release of Spider-Man 2, and I recently just played Spider-Man 2, and that game is also great. If you haven't played it, I'm going to be making a video on it soon. Let me know in the comments down below, why do you guys like Spider-Man? What is your favorite suit in Spider-Man 1 or Spider-Man 2? And yeah, I would love to hear from you guys. And as always, leave a like if you liked the video and subscribe for more videos like this one. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.